Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think this is a very global get together, so thank you so much for taking the time. I'd like to welcome and thank you all for joining this information session. Thank you Sam Flynn from RMIT University for joining us today. Please note that the presentation that will be presented today is not around GTE or admissions for RMIT. This is something that Accelerate will be presenting at another time. Today, we're going to be focusing on the great courses and all the services that RMIT have to offer. So for any GTE and admissions questions, we do have our VP of Global Admissions in the background, John Crowder. Thank you for joining us as well. He may be able to answer a few questions for you, but we will be having another presentation purely on GTE and admissions at another time. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind you all that as an Accelerate agent, you have access to the Accelerate portal, which you can see as I share my screen here. If you have forgotten your logins or your password, please reach out to your regional manager, or upon login, there is actually a spot where it's forget password, and then we can get that password for you. But please reach out if you are having issues with logging in. So once you get into the Accelerate portal, you can do a course search for RMIT University. This can either be done by popping in Australia as the country here, or what most do is just pop in RMIT under the Essentials search up the top, and it will come up with the 3 great campuses in Melbourne, Australia, Brunswick, and Bundoora. So once you find out which campus perhaps a student would like to study at, for example, in particular, something I prepared earlier, if they would like to study at the Brunswick campus, you can click on this campus page and it will bring up all the information related to the RMIT Brunswick campus. Here we have a lot of information, downloadable materials located under this tab. Very important post-admission information, such as what to do once you receive a full offer. So it's how you accept that offer. So there's a lot of details there. Training and frequently asked questions. So if you have any questions regarding whether it be admissions or about one of the courses, turnaround time, scholarships, you can't find it on the campus landing page, please reach out to your local regional manager, or alternatively, we have the support email address here as well that you can reach out to. Most importantly, we have a list of all the courses that are available at the Brunswick campus. Once a student has decided which course they would like to do, for what I have prepared earlier is Associate Degree in Fashion and Textile Merchandising, you can actually go to the course landing page. This will give all the detailed information about that particular course. Most importantly, the admissions requirements and the document requirements required for upload during that application process. So the first point will be to review this page, review the documents required, and then using the green button here, be able to create that application. If you would like further training on how to use the Accelerate portal, again, please reach out to your regional manager, regional director. We're more than happy to have webinars and presentations, or one-on-one with regards to how to use Accelerate, and more importantly, how to find that right fit institution for your student. So what I will do now is I will stop share. I will put myself back on mute in case my dogs decide to rudely interrupt again. I apologise for that. And I will hand over to Sam Flynn from RMIT University to start presenting. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Francesca. I'll just introduce myself. My name's Sam Flynn. I'm the Regional Coordinator at the Growth Squad at RMIT University. So thank you very much for having me today, and thank you very much for sharing your time to come along to the webinar. And hopefully I can give you some information that will be meaningful for you and help you in terms of like counselling students, some key selling points about RMIT, and just information that will sort of help you along your journey, and also the journey for the students. So I've put together a bit of a slide presentation, and I'll just share my screen here. Sorry, just be one moment.
Sam, just while you're bringing up the presentation, just to remind everyone that we do have a chat box at the bottom. So if you do have any questions during the presentation, please keep yourself on mute and just pop that question into the chat box. And we'll get to it at the end of the presentation. Just a reminder to please all keep yourself on mute. Thank you.
Can you see my presentation there, Francesca?
No, not yet, Sam.
Oh, okay. Okay, how's that?
Yep, that looks great. Sure. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so yeah, I'll just work through the presentation, but I guess just a little bit of a background of RMIT University. We were founded in 1887 as a working man's college. So it's a very old, well-established university. It's really an icon of Melbourne. We actually, the size of RMIT University is about 7% of the CBD in terms of the city campus. And as Francesca mentioned before, we have 3 campuses in Melbourne, the city campus, Bundoora and Brunswick, which I'll go through shortly, but we really have a wide range of programs right through from foundation, diploma, associate degrees, bachelor, master, through to PhDs and masters by research. So we have the option of, you know, lots of pathways for students that don't meet the entry requirements to go directly into bachelor degrees. They do have the options of diploma and associate degrees, which are really attractive for some students. For a number of reasons. The entry requirements is generally less, the fees is less, and the smaller class sizes are more hands-on practical sort of learning. So really a huge range of programs. We're one of the largest universities in Australia by number of students. So it really is an icon of Melbourne and really an icon of Australian education. So it's really, and I guess the other thing with RMIT is you're looking at the complete package, not just one specific thing. So we're looking at things like, you know, this being located in the city of Melbourne, you know, wide range of programs, industry connections, employment outcomes, and those sorts of things. So I'll run through a little bit of that information for you to sort of help you to pass on that information to the students. So the first question is, why choose RMIT University? One of the reasons, I guess, is our rankings. We're ranked in the top 100 universities globally. Other key rankings is we're ranked number 3 in terms of global universities by the Times Higher Education, 206 globally by QS World Rankings, number 1 in Australia and 18 in the Asia Pacific for graduate employability rate. And I think that's a really key ranking for us, to be ranked number 1 in Australia and number 18 in Asia Pacific, and actually 43 globally in terms of employment outcomes. So I know most of your students, the number 1 key or number 1 goal is that employment outcome at the end. So RMIT is very highly ranked in terms of employability. And one of the reasons for that is our industry connections. We have lots of partnerships with industries, not only in Australia, but around the world. We work with big multinational companies and also locally, you know, family-owned companies as well. So the students really get that opportunity to not only do the, you know, the theory and practical work, but they also have the opportunity to do work integrated learning, you know, field work, and also have those industry mentors. So that's one of the reasons why we rank so highly there. The other reason is that all of our programs are developed in consultation with industry. So we're really delivering the programs that industry is actually looking for. So we keep up with the trends of the industry, and, you know, we take that advice and that direction from industry as to what they're looking for in graduates. So we're really a global university. We have about 82,000 students from 190 countries, speaking 184 languages. We have lots of trips and tours, clubs and societies, and so on. So, we really see ourselves as a global university. And, we really try to give students that experience as well. A lot of our academic staff were international students themselves. So we have, I think about 40% of our academic staff were born outside of Australia. So they really understand the challenges and the unique circumstances that international students find themselves in. We're actually ranked 83 globally and 15 in Australia for international students. So we really are an international university. So here's a picture of Melbourne. So, I'm sure hopefully some of you have had the chance to visit Melbourne, but it's a lovely city. Lots of things going on in Melbourne. It's really popular for sports and cultural activities. You've probably seen, events such as the Australian Open, which is a tennis championship, the Australian Grand Prix, Test cricket. There's lots of concerts and other cultural events held throughout Melbourne. Melbourne itself is also very multicultural as well. So we have, different festivals going on throughout the year for different cultures and things like that. So the students will really find it easy to settle in and find, not only those Australian cultural activities, but also, they'll be able to participate in their own cultural activities as well throughout the year. World-class dining, shopping, and so on. Having the central location in the city of Melbourne really gives students that opportunity to really immerse themselves in the city. It's very cosmopolitan, lots of cafes, restaurants, theatres, sports facilities, and so on. So really there's something for everyone in Melbourne, and the students really do enjoy that overall experience. So here we have a map of RMIT campuses. So at the bottom of the screen there, you can see we have the Melbourne City campus, which is based in the centre. And then a little bit to the north is the Brunswick campus. So the Brunswick campus is about 20 to 25 minutes by tram from the city campus. And then we have the Bundoora campus, which is northwest there. And that takes about 1 hour by public transport to Bundoora campus. But the majority of our programs, as you'll see shortly, are located in the city campus. And you can see on the right-hand side, the map there of Melbourne City Centre. So the red blocks there is the RMIT City campus. So you can see, in comparison to the size of Melbourne CBD, it's a very large portion there. So as I mentioned before, it's the equivalent of 7% of the size of the CBD. So it really is like a landmark in Melbourne. If you ask anyone from Melbourne about RMIT University, they'll all know exactly where it is, and they'll know the reputation and the history of RMIT University. So this screen just sort of highlights the programs that we have in the city campus. So it's home to about 47,000 students. And, we got programs ranging from, applied sciences, law, architecture, maths, business, media communication, computer science, property and construction, design, social work, engineering, urban planning, global and international studies, and visual arts. So there's a couple of photos there just of the Melbourne City campus. It's quite large, so we can't show you all of it, but there's just a couple of photos there to give you an idea. But it really is a great location, and it's one of the great selling points of RMIT is that city location, which I know most of the international students really like. So then we've got the Brunswick campus, which I mentioned before is about 20 minutes north of the city campus. So this is a much smaller campus in size, and this specialises in textiles technology, fashion design and merchandising, and education. So I'll just mention, in terms of art and design, RMIT is actually ranked 15th in the world and #1 in Australia for art and design. So it's a very, very highly reputed college. In terms of fashion and textiles, we're ranked 11. 11 in the world and #1 in Australia. So in terms of like art and design, fashion and textiles, this really is like a world-class facility here for students interested in those particular areas. Then we have the Bundoora campus. So the Bundoora campus, as it mentions here, automotive and aerospace engineering, biological sciences, and so on. But yeah, it sort of specializes more like in education, health sciences. In terms of the engineering programs, generally for a bachelor degree, students will do the first 2 years in the city campus for automotive and aerospace engineering and mechanical engineering. They do the first 2 years in the city campus and then the second 2 years at the Bundoora campus. All the other bachelor degrees in engineering are solely based in the city campus. We also have some programs in Bundoora related to research, Masters by Research, PhD, and those sort of areas. But yeah, the city campus is by far the largest campus, and the majority of programs are based in the city campus. The great selling point about the Bundoora campus is, it's very large campus. It's located in a more residential sort of area, so there's lots of accommodation, cheaper accommodation, and larger accommodation available there. It's very leafy and green. There's lots of parks and gardens, so it's a really nice, relaxing place to study. It's an easy place to live. There's shopping centres and restaurants and things like that. It's a really up and coming part of Melbourne, and yeah, and it's still reasonably close to the city as well, so it's easy for students to commute in and out of the city from there. So at RMIT, we have 3 colleges. We have the Business College, we have the Design and Social Context College, and we have the Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths College. So Business College, we specialise in these areas that you can see here on the list. So we have a wide range of business programs, and students can choose the major that they'd like to follow. They can also choose minors as well. So they could, for example, they could do a major in accounting and a minor in international business or something like that. So it's a little bit flexible. The first year of the bachelor programs is pretty standard with the core units, but then sort of the following years, students can start to specialise in their majors and minors. So all the business programs are located in the city campus, actually based in that building you can see behind me there in the photo. It's a little bit hard to see, but that's the business college. It's a really modern building, state-of-the-art technology, lots of facilities there. We have a training facility. We have a centre there where students can do some on-campus sort of work integrated learning and work simulated activities and so on. So there's lots of variety of activities students can undertake there. So in terms of the rankings, we're ranked in the top 100 universities in business and management studies, and the top 100 universities in the world for accounting and finance. Students can participate in internships and work on live projects with industry mentors and so on. But that's really a theme across all our programs, is the industry connections that we have. Design and social context is the third college, and it specializes in architecture, communication, fashion, textiles, digital media, and the other list of programs that you can see there. So we're ranked number 1 in art and design in the Asia Pacific region and 11 in the world. We're ranked number 26 in the world for architecture and ranked in the top 4 architecture schools in Australia. So we're very well known and have a very good reputation in terms of architecture and design. There are really some flagship programs there. Top 100 universities in the world for development studies, also for communication and media studies, and so on. Yeah, so that's, that really shows you the broad range of programs we have available at RMIT University. There really is, something for everybody here. And we really cater for a really diverse range of students. So we have the Science, Engineering and Health College. Obviously, focusing a lot on engineering. So we've got the aerospace, mechanical, automotive, civil, environmental and chemical, advanced manufacturing, electrical and software. They're all the engineering programs. And then we've got the computer science and IT programs, biotechnology, food production, nursing, laboratory medicine, medical radiation, surveying and aviation. So we're in the top 100 universities in the world for electrical and electronic engineering, also for civil and structural engineering, and top 100 in the world also for computer science and information systems. So they're also very popular programs, and they're based in the city campus as well. As I mentioned before, we do have a wide variety of pathways as well. So it's really important to remember that students that don't meet the entry requirements to go directly into a bachelor degree, they do have that diploma, even foundation. They can start at the foundation program, diploma, associate degree pathways. And that will give them, the diplomas and associate degrees will give them credits to go on to the bachelor degree once they finish. So it really is a good option for some students. I mentioned earlier the industry connection. So you can see here some of the lists of the companies that we work with. So here's probably just the larger companies that are more recognizable, but we do also work with, the smaller companies as well, especially the local companies. But this just gives you an idea of, some of the range of companies that we work with. And we have alumni that are working, throughout these companies. Students will engage with these companies while they're studying. It could be through work integrated learning, internships, field trips, industry mentors, that simulated industry projects and so on. And as I mentioned before, the programs are developed and updated regularly in consultation with industry. So we're really catering to what industry is really looking for. And that's why we rank so highly in terms of our graduate employability. And the students, it's not only those aspects, but it's also the students will have the opportunity to network while they're studying as well. So they'll meet people in these companies, which will, really give them the opportunity to be above their peers in terms of selection processes later on when they apply for jobs. Because we have such a wide range of students, we have lots of services available at RMIT. So study assistance, so we can help the students to plan and their research and assignments, manage deadlines, prepare for exams, IT support. There's also personal counselling as well. So we can help students through any personal problems they have, even financial counselling or counselling based on accommodation services, everything like that. So I really encourage students, and I hope you do too, to really reach out to the student services when they arrive and find out talk to them about what services are available, and start that discussion with the student services when they arrive, and really gather as much information as they can about what services are available. It's very easy to do. They can just go into our information centres, our hub, and and start that discussions, because it's really good for the students to get on top of any issue they have early, rather than waiting for it to get bigger and bigger. So we've got legal advice and childcare facilities as well. So there's really, even if a service isn't listed as one of the services we provide, they can still help students and refer them to the appropriate area that can help them with any issue they have, or provide that additional support. It's worth mentioning about the Future Leaders Scholarship we have available. So this is available for South Asian students. So students from India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, who are studying either a bachelor degree or a master's by coursework, they're all eligible for a 20% fee reduction scholarship. And this scholarship is provided for the duration of their program. So it's not just the first year, it's the duration of the program. So students don't need to apply for this scholarship. It will be automatically offered to them in their offer letter. So there's no application process, and all students from these countries are eligible for that scholarship. So I know a lot of students are interested in these types of things. So this is something that you can offer to the students. So I hope that helps in giving you a bit of a background of RMIT University. I know it's a lot of information, and I could probably sit here for weeks talking about RMIT University, but I guess in the first webinar, I really just wanted to give you a bit of an overview, some of the key selling points. I really wanted to sort of highlight things such as the location, the employability rates, the broad range of programs and pathways, things like that. So I guess when you're talking to students about RMIT University, you really have to emphasize the overall package. So it's not just about the location, it's not just about the program, it's not just about the employment outcomes or the rankings. It's really a little bit of everything. Like, it's the overall package. It's the lifestyle, it's the clubs and societies, extracurricular activities. So there's really a lot there for students, and if they take the opportunity to really get involved, I'm sure they'll have a great experience at RMIT. So I hope that helps, Francesca.
Yes, that was great. Thank you so much, Sam. It really is, coming from someone who's very biased. I studied at RMIT. So very biased, but it is, it's a wonderful place. It's not just a university, it's a home away home for a lot of these students. So it's great. Thank you so much for all that information. We will share this presentation. We may have to edit that recording, but we will share the presentation here with the agent network through the Accelerate portal. So just a reminder to everyone that as you're here, you are an Accelerate agent, and therefore you can log into the Accelerate portal and apply to all of these great courses with RMIT. So again, we will speak more to GTE in a separate presentation. However, I don't want to pick on John, it's still here. John, are you still with us? Yeah?
Yes, I'm here, Jess.
Hi, John. Sorry, just not to put you on the spot, but just thought it would be a really great opportunity as well to speak to the group about what it means to have a complete application when applying through the portal, and how that can really quicken up our turnaround time to be able to submit that through to RMIT to really be able to have a quick turnaround time in getting that offer. Would you be able to have a quick overview on how important it is to have a complete offer and a complete application, and what that may look like?
Yeah, sure, will do. Thanks, Chaz. So, so everyone, one of the biggest issues we face with applications is that many of them are incomplete. There is certain documentation that is required in order for us to assess those and have them sent through to the university for further assessment. One is obviously a completed application form, the academic transcripts, and the GTE requirements. So RMIT has an SOP requirement for students from certain high-risk countries. And that SOP should be provided at the time of the application so that we have that ready to send through to RMIT with the application so you receive a quick outcome. That, for the purpose of people here, that does apply to students applying from India. So that would be the majority of people here. That is from high-risk areas of India, and there's a list of other countries as well. So we would suggest that you have the SOP ready and provide that. We also need an explanation of any gaps in study. This seems to be misunderstood by a lot of people. And that is, say, for example, the student completed their most recent study in July 2021, and they're applying for the July 2022 intake and has not done any study since that time. That student does have a gap. We need an explanation of what they have been doing in that gap. Have they been working? Have they been studying? If they have been working, please provide evidence of work, such as employment letters and this type of thing, because that gap explanation is very important. As I said, if the student has been working, providing evidence of that work is also important. And the other thing as well is with regard to accompanying spouse. So if the applicant has a spouse who is accompanying them to Australia, we also need information on the spouse to finalise that and send it through. Such information is just really about the spouse's highest educational background and their employment. Those are the key things that we find we're missing. And if we don't have those, we need to go back to you and ask for that. I can see there's a lot of questions in the chat box that are mainly GTE related. So we won't answer those ones at this stage. As Francesca has said, we will run a separate session on GTE, but I will go through and read some of these out for Sam, those that apply directly, and the others will respond in another session. So Sam, these questions for you. Does RMIT accept applications from Section 3 universities in Pakistan? And what is the eligibility criteria for scholarship?
So Section 3 universities, I'd have to check the NUSA guides because we follow what's the equivalencies based on the NUSA guides. Would you like me to just check it quickly?
I can do that for you if you like.
Yeah, so it's just based on, I can't remember off the top of my head Section 3 institutes, but yeah, if you can check it quickly, John, or I can check it.
I'm just in there now. So Section 3. So a bachelor degree from a Section 3 university must be a 4-year degree. So based on those guidelines, yes,
yep,
it would be accepted,
yep,
but must be 4 years, not 3.
Yep. Yeah, so we follow the NUSA guides, very closely. So it's just based on the equivalencies in the NUSA guide. So if the NUSA guide says that it's equivalent, then we would accept them. And that's the same with every country as well. It's going to be based on NUSA guides. Scholarships, the question was around eligibility. So yeah, they would be eligible for the scholarship. Any student from Pakistan or any of those other countries, Sri Lanka, Nepal, India, they're all eligible for the Future Leader Scholarship, which is the 20% fee reduction, and there's no need to apply for that. There's no separate application. They'll just be offered that, within their offer letter.
All right, thanks, Sam. The next question is, does RMIT accept MOI for English?
We do. Yeah, in some countries we do. It's a little bit complicated, and also it's not guaranteed. There is a list on our website, and I'm sure, John and Educo can provide those details. But for countries where, English is considered, the main language, there is a list of countries there that students can be accepted, based on MOI. Obviously, our admissions team, it's still sort of case by case. So admissions still may come back and ask for an English proficiency test, but you can submit those applications based on MOI, and there's still a good chance that they'll be accepted based on MOI. So it is possible, yeah.
Right, thanks, Sam. So very much case by case basis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to skip a few questions because they're GTE related, and I'll just go down to those specifically related to academic requirements. Is it mandatory to send a provisional degree if I'm still pursuing my 12th grade? So they haven't completed year 12 yet. I'm guessing the question is, can they apply for a conditional offer pending those results?
Yeah, they can. That's fine. So yeah, I would encourage them to go ahead and submit the application. Yeah, depending on the reason why it's provisional, but generally they'll be issued with a conditional offer. Could even be a full offer if if there's some sort of reason why there's a delay. For example, during COVID, we were having delays with students receiving their official certificate. So in some areas, for some certain curriculums, we were accepting provisional certificates, but generally it'll be a conditional offer that will be given, yes. So that's fine.
Great, thanks. Next one, can a student from the Punjab region apply for an ELICOS package if they don't meet the English language requirement?
They can apply for up to 10 weeks package for ELICOS. So any more than that wouldn't be accepted. But if they just need 10 weeks, then that would be possible. But yeah, we have a limit on that, so it'd be maximum 10 weeks package with ELICOS. Great,
thank you. Next one, what is the maximum gap allowance that for RMIT?
Well, any more than sort of 3 months would be a red flag. But I would encourage students to any gap to submit a statement explaining the gap, and any supporting documents that can assist with that, to send those along as well. So 3 months, but even less than 3 months, I'd still encourage them to send some supporting statements and supporting documents.
Yeah, great, thank you. How many backlogs are accepted for a master degree?
No more than 10. And that's basically across the board, like all markets. So it's pretty much a pretty strict cutoff point there for backlogs. So no more than 10 there.
Okay. Does RMIT accept open schooling?
Does that mean online?
Yeah, like open university, open schools. Yeah, that. Yeah.
I think it'd be case by case. So they're welcome to apply, and it would probably have to be sent to the college for assessment. So we'd have to send it for that, specialised academic assessment. But they're welcome to apply and have that assessment done.
Okay.
Yep.
Does RMIT provide a pre-master's program for students who graduated from a 5-year junior college, which is equivalent to second-year undergraduate, to study prior to the master's program?
No, we don't have the pre-masters programs, unfortunately. Just the bachelor then master programs. Yeah.
All right, no problem. I won't go through the academic requirements for specific courses because that we can deal with that one. Turnaround times for offer letters, what are we expecting there?
It really depends on which college the students or which programs the students are applying for, how complex their their application is. But generally I'd probably allow a week before following up. If the student's application consists of additional requirements like portfolios, interviews, things like that need to be assessed by the college, it may take a bit longer. But I'd probably, allow, it could be quicker, like sometimes it could be within 1 or 2 days. But I generally encourage people to just allow a week and before following up on them.
All right, thank you. Next one's with regard to the financial requirements. So what is the specified period that funds must be in an account for? Is it 3 months, 6 months?
3 months. They need to be in the account for minimum 3 months.
Minimum 3 months. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Again, about open schooling. If student is having an extension year in bachelor's due to a health issue, is that profile accepted?
Yeah, that's fine as long as they have the supporting documents to back that up. So medical certificates or letters from their doctor and so on. That can be submitted as part of their application, and that'll be assessed along with all their other documents that they submit. Yeah.
Okay. Can we apply for a scholarship before the offer letter?
Generally scholarships are offered along with the offer automatically. Depends on what program students are applying for. So every scholarship will have, its different criteria and different application process. So it really depends on the scholarship that the student's applying for. But generally the scholarships, if they're a fee reduction scholarship, like a 20% reduction and things like that, they're offered automatically. So the student doesn't have to apply for them separately. But if it's a different case, like if a student's applying for research or, some other programs that have scholarships available, you'd have to check which scholarship it is and check their application process for that particular scholarship. Yep. So you could send your inquiry. If it's a specific inquiry, you could send it through to, John or Francesca at Educo. And if they need to follow it up further, they can forward it on to me, and I can certainly follow that up for them.
Right. All right. Thanks, Sam. Does RMIT accept applications from the north areas of Pakistan, specifically KPK province?
We do accept them, but obviously they'll be subject to, more detailed SSVF, GTE assessments and so on. So they can apply, but obviously they have to undertake the SSVF process, which includes our SSVF form and everything John's probably already updated you about. So they can apply, but obviously it's going to go through some pretty strict SSVF assessments on that. Yeah.
Right. Does RMIT accept Duolingo?
Duolingo.
Yes, an alternative to IELTS.
No, we don't. No.
Can a 3-year Indonesian high school student apply to an undergraduate course? I think I'll leave that one. That's more an academic one. We can answer that one later, Sam.
Sure.
So a student who completed Year 12 in 2019 after a 1-year full-time diploma between 2020 to 21, is this profile acceptable? I think that's another one we'll deal with. Yeah. Is it mandatory to have work experience for an MBA program? And I guess that'll differ.
Yeah.
Executive or not.
Yeah, exactly. So with the general MBA program, no, it's not required. Yeah, the executive MBA, I think they require 3 years work experience. So yeah, general MBA, no, they don't need work experience, is not required, which a lot of the MBA programs do require the work experience, but the RMIT one doesn't require it. Yeah.
Does RMIT accept underage students?
Yes, we do. Yeah, there's obviously additional, welfare arrangements need to be made for the under 18 students, but we do accept them. Yeah.
Is a GTE interview required before a COE is issued?
No, only for specific countries. Namely, I think Nepal, Nigeria, testing now, Pakistan, and certain parts of India. They require a GTE interview to receive the offer. So they may be given a conditional offer awaiting GTE interview. But otherwise, no, they don't need the interview. Yeah, so it's only for those specific areas or specific markets. They may need an interview if they're from a high risk area, but it's not something that's required, across the board.
Okay. 2 questions combined here. Does RMIT accept married applicants and applicants with kids?
Yeah, again, it comes down to the overall SSVF assessment. So they'll take into consideration the overall student's profile rather than just one particular thing. So I wouldn't say no, we don't accept them, but it obviously will come up during the SSVF or GTE assessment. So, but we won't make a decision based on just one factor. The decision will be based on their overall profile. So yeah, they're welcome to apply and undertake that GTE assessment.
Okay. Is there a scholarship available to high achieving students? For example, they have a score of over 75% or something like that. An academic merit scholarship.
Yeah, no, not specifically. Most of our scholarships for coursework programs, for the international students, they're based on, which country they're from and things like that. Sometimes we offer certain scholarships to particular countries, and it sort of gets rotated around depending on, we try to keep a balance of nationalities at RMIT. So we sometimes offer scholarships to, promote this program to a certain market and so on. So it's generally not based on, their high performance and so on. Obviously, if they're applying for a research program, it's a different story. So there are scholarships or funding available for research. But again, it's more of a case-by-case basis, that one, depending on what research the student's interested in and whether there's funding available for that type of research. So that's sort of determined more by the supervisors and so on in that scenario.
Yeah, right. Can a mature age student apply? I'm guessing by that it means you know, a lot of universities don't encourage students over the age of 40, for example, to apply. Does RMIT have an age limit?
No, we don't, which is probably lucky for me if I wanted to apply. But no, we don't have an age limit as such. But again, the assessment will be done based on the student's overall profile. So we won't say, okay, you're over 50, so we're just going to deny it. But they'll take into consideration the student's overall profile.
Yeah, okay. That's an academic one. That is pretty much it. That would relate specifically to a question for RMIT. The rest we can deal with their academic.
Sure.
Or GTE.
Thank you, John, for going through all of those, and well done, Sam. That was that was fired a lot of diverse questions there, and you've done really well. So a lot of information there.
Hopefully I made a little bit of sense, and hopefully that can help a little bit.
No, it helped a lot. And as I said, look, we've had a great turnout today. I know that Sam is so flexible with being able to provide more webinars or Q&A sessions. So thank you, Sam. I think there will definitely be a need for another session. And we will definitely have a further GTE and admissions session with John Crowder. But pretty much finishing right on time. I know that you are all very, very busy. See you all very soon. Thanks again, Sam.
Thanks,
Sam.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.